Hi guys, I'm Shmee. Hello and welcome back to the channel where you join me right now in the storage with some of the Shmeemobiles. But today I would like to talk about what is next. I mean in terms of my cars and the garage, but also the channel and the videos. Everything right now is crazy. We're living in unprecedented times. Things are changing at a moment's notice. However, against all of the gloominess and sad news, something to share with you that's significantly more positive. In just a few days, my channel is going to reach 2 million subscribers. A huge thanks to all of you for being part of this adventure, which of course means this weekend I'm going to reveal the new Shmeemobile, the new addition to the garage, my dream car, and today I'll tell you a little bit more behind the scenes of what's going to be coming. I'd also like to touch on what's happening in the automotive world in general, in terms of events, in terms of trips, in terms of things that I've had to change, or some of the plans that haven't been able to happen. There's a lot to discuss though. I can't wait for this weekend to share with you the new car. Believe me, it is going to be very special. So today, let's have a bit of an update then and talk about what is next. I'm not going to lie, the last few weeks have been rather chaotic. There have been plans changing left, right and centre, sometimes very last minute, but all of that falls into insignificance compared to what else is going on in the world at the moment. Today though, I'd like to talk from an automotive side, not the medical or the political perspective, but just about the car world in terms of the events, what's happening, what's not happening, things that I personally had planned and updates to do with the garage, including the new car, but also what might happen later in the year and what is going to happen to the content that you guys see from the supercar world. Clearly, things are going to be a little bit different over the coming months, perhaps even further. This might only be the tip of the iceberg since, well, a couple of weeks ago, the first thing that really impacted the car world, which was the cancellation of the Geneva Motorshow. Obviously, things are changing very, very quickly. I'm filming this video just a few hours before it's going to go live, but things are changing so rapidly, even in this amount of time, something might be updated or something might impact things. Something I noticed in my last upload actually, which was going down to the Goodwood Motor Circuit with TGE to take delivery of his Porsche Carrera GT. Now that video was actually a week ago. It's taken a little bit of time to edit up his fully professionally made video off the back of it, so I delayed mine. Obviously I wasn't going to steal his thunder, but even in that time, the fact that we were standing together, shaking hands, not self-isolating, all looked a little bit unusual, but obviously all of these things vary from country to country, from region to region, and no doubt you can find other platforms or sources for information and news about what's going on where you are. But obviously as a result, a lot of you guys saw things that looked pretty unusual in the current situation, rightfully so. So let's go back then to the trip where I intended to take the Ferrari GTC Forlusso to the Geneva Motorshow. In fact, I did take this car to Geneva, but if we rewind back a little bit, you might remember I fitted it with a new set of wheels. My original dual-tone wheels are being stored at my dealer, and those have winter tyres. The reason being that I wanted to go and chase some snow with this car. Alas, that hasn't happened. The car is back here, and it never managed to make it to the Alps. So originally, I was going to go from the Geneva Motor Show across to Milan for the weekend, then back to the Alps. Obviously, we first cancelled Milan. I was going to leave the car in Switzerland, go to the show, go somewhere else, then come back to go to the snow with it. But then very promptly, the Geneva Motor Show was cancelled as well, which started something that sounds a little bit strange now, but of course I went in the car to go and visit Bugatti, Koenigsegg, Mansouri, Brabus, Aston Martin, and ultimately brought the car home before intending then to go out to the Melbourne Formula 1 race. The F1 race got cancelled. In fact, I cancelled it before because we didn't think it was actually going to happen, which turned out to be the case. And actually that's triggered a whole wave of big events that have now been cancelled. But it meant that I then planned another little trip around Europe, and each country's borders have kind of been closing along the way. And ultimately, it is actually crazy how many flights I've booked and not gone on to take already, because well, that weekend the Formula 1 was cancelled, then I was going to go to Germany, then Germany closed the borders, so I had to got home as quickly as possible. But just to update you, I'm healthy. My girlfriend is also here in the UK and she's fine. My family are all well too, and I'm wishing the best for all of you out there. This does need to be taken very, very seriously. So to touch on the different cars, of course the GT is currently sitting under its new Goodwool car cover. I do like that an awful lot. The GT8 needs to be cleaned up still, even though it came back from Goodwood, well, about a week ago, but obviously trying to avoid contact and things like that means I just decided to basically leave it here. The Lusso will at some point go for its service and to have the wheels swapped over, as will the Heritage RS. Although speaking about that, I do need to take it for a quick run because I haven't done for a while and I'm concerned the battery might go flat, particularly if we do have a quarantine and a lockdown like has been seen around some of the other countries in Europe. Something again to take very seriously, and it means I won't be able to come here to the garage where the Schmeemobiles are. What is coming up then on the channel over the next week, the next month, the next few months? Well, most of this is going to be up in the air. Plans are all pear-shaped. Who really knows what's going to be happening? But what I can tell you about are the very exciting videos over the next couple of days. It is time to get rolling with the new car, but it's also going to be spectacularly confusing, which is why I need to explain this a little bit in advance. So the next video you are going to see is the start of a journey of epic proportions, taking the G63 over to Germany. Now that doesn't make sense right now because as of this moment, the borders are closed. I could clearly no longer do that, but that is all in advance of collecting the new Schmeemobile, the dream car, which I will reveal this Saturday evening in the UK, earlier in the day over in the US, and that will be the collection day, which of course, not knowing when the 2 million subscriber milestone was going to arrive, has been shot in advance. It is not breaking the law, I'm not driving illegally to Germany, but of course I've shot the videos and now I am excited to share them with you. That of course is not the only thing that is slightly confusing, because I do have a few other videos to come with some of the other cars, which won't necessarily make sense, especially if the UK does go into lockdown, but I want to tell you a bit as well about some of the plans further afield that sadly are no longer going to be happening as intended. So I had announced that I would go to Day 1 World of Cars in the Netherlands. That's been postponed to later in the year. I was also going to go to the Easter weekend at the Nurburgring, which I'm pretty confident isn't going to be happening either, but I had planned a trip, it was all booked, to take 6 of the Schmeemobiles and a group of 12 people to, well, around Europe to do Schmeetings in Brussels, Amsterdam, at the Nurburgring, World of Cars, and sadly, that's no longer happening. We were going to take the Ford GT, the AMG GTR Pro, the Aston GT8, the McLaren 675 LT Spider, the red Focus RS, and also the BMW M8 Competition, which I presume is going to be a bit delayed as well. I doubt that's going to be arriving anytime particularly soon. So that trip with all of those sadly didn't happen. I was really looking forward to taking this out for a proper run to stretch the legs. I think I might even have referenced it, which obviously makes no sense now given that we can't go anywhere. Another big trip I'd planned for ages was to take 3 of the cars to Morocco, to drive to Marrakesh. We were going to be in the south of Spain, the south of Portugal, and to go over to Morocco. Yes, hopefully we can postpone that and do it again another time. Alas, for now, it won't be. Another thing to tell you about is that the new car, I was intending to fly it to the USA for the Gumball 3000. Again, cancelled. Toronto to Havana, that was going to be in May. I was going to do another bit of a US tour as well as part of that. I don't know if I'll still bring it later in the summer. I certainly hope so, but we've kind of got to see how all of this evolves. Everything is changing. It's very much, and purely from a car perspective, remember, I'm only talking about the cars here. It's very much a wait and see. Just adapt, see what happens, go with the flow, and yes, hopefully it won't be too long before we can get some of these back out again. For the time being, talking about taking cars out, as I mentioned, the Heritage RS does need a little bit of a run, so I am going to jump on board, get this car out for a few minutes, just to give it a drive, because it's not living here on a trickle charger. I'm going to be sorting that out very soon, but I do need to make sure that the battery stays charged, because of course, if we do get locked down, it's going to go flat, and that's going to be annoying to deal with afterwards. But for the time being, instantly into life. So, got a few random things in here, including the go-kart and a Ford sign for the future garage. I'll touch on that later on as well. So more information to come about that, some good news too. Yeah, let's take this one out. And if you're wondering what that noise is, by the way, it's in need of a sound suppression chamber. It's to do with the intake, but it's something that complicates the story. But hopefully I'll fit one of those from Mount Tune at some point before too long. Anyway, let's get it off the tyre cushions, let's get it out, go for a very short drive, bring it back in, and tell you more about the garage. Please do excuse all of the bangs and rattles of the various things that are in the boot behind me moving around. I haven't done a very good job of shuffling before going for a short little drive, but what does surprise me is quite how many people are actually out on the roads. Now, the UK doesn't yet have a quarantine. There's no forced self-isolation for everybody at this stage, but I think because nobody's taking trains, tubes, the underground and things like that, everybody's driving, which means you do actually have traffic jams even now, which took me a little bit by surprise, but I can tell you there's nowhere I would rather be for self-isolation than in a car out for a drive on my own. Windows closed, in my own little bubble, out for a drive, and I certainly hope that in some form that might be possible to continue doing for the coming weeks, when we're all going to have to be completely shut down. But like I said, I do have quite a few videos that I've kind of filmed in advance, so there are lots of cool things actually still to share with you guys. Just this one I'm going to upload immediately, just because I suppose it's so time relevant. These things are moving and changing in such a short span of time that it would make no sense if I left this until a little bit later. I'm going to pop the car into sport mode. Now this car does have the stock factory Focus RS exhaust, but you do get some pops. Given we're going to have so few of those in the coming weeks, I say that, but maybe I'll have to wait and see if the new car pops or not. You'll find out in a couple of days. I can tell you it sounds epic. That's the only clue I'm going to give you right now. There will be some clues in the video driving over to it. I will reveal a few things which, if you're thinking about it, you'll be able to work out what car it's actually going to be. But it is a very, very special one, that is for sure. Yeah, it's going to be a nice, I think, permanent member of the car collection long term. For the time being though, like I said, just a couple of miles driving really to make sure this thing's fully juiced up, just make sure the battery doesn't go flat. There will be some extra trickle charges for the cars like this in the garage before too long, but just until I've got those, I need to, you know, make sure it's all completely good and happy. Like I say, look, it's almost like a normal day. And in fact, while I've been at the car storage, like I've said before, it's a place with numerous very nice cars in storage, I've been amazed how many people have come in. It's been like a completely normal day, which I honestly wasn't thinking. I thought today would be completely silent. Just because in theory everyone's at home, I guess, you know, social distancing, etc., not going too close, not handshaking with anybody at the moment. But like I said, there are other places to discuss the medical side and the political side. I'm pleased to be back home, and I wish the best for everyone, my colleagues in the social media sphere, those at automotive companies. I do want to touch more on the automotive business in general when I get back, and just everybody who's watching and part of these videos, because these are scary times and can't be taken seriously enough, I think. Anyway, for the time being, I'll just drive a few more miles out of London, then back to the storage to tell you a little bit more. The Heritage RS is parked back up in the storage. I've also popped it back onto the tyre cushions, and in a moment I will cover up all of the Schmeemobiles as well. But something that probably doesn't take a genius to work out is that this was not the best time to add a really expensive car to the garage. Of course, it took a long time from initially placing a deposit to working out how to fund it, to working out how to pay for it internationally. So all of that has happened, and then all of this has happened in the meantime, and things have completely blown up and gone crazy. Obviously, had it happened a little bit differently, I don't think I would have bought a new car at this stage, but that will bring me on to talking about the garage. Similarly, I have discussed, as you know, I put in an offer on a unit. They have countered the offer, and I'm kind of 50-50 on whether to accept it. And the reason for that is that parking the Schmeemobiles here in a supercar storage is actually only about a third or a quarter of the price of taking these cars to their own private unit. That's something people don't often consider very often. A private space is significantly more expensive. As such, being a businessman at the end of the day, I need to consider what the future is going to have in store. This is clearly an economic crisis. Everything is in absolute disaster state at the moment, and I need to keep my head screwed on and think about it very seriously. So I'll have a think about this, and obviously let you know as and when I've made a decision and what I think the realistic outcome is going to be. Talking of which, the automotive industry in general, clearly in for a bit of a shock. Times are not great. New car sales are significantly down as well. Factories in some cases are currently closed. Non-essential businesses in some countries have had to shut their doors. Some are actually manufacturing ventilators and other medical equipment as well. I think there's going to be a supply chain issue before long. Global logistics is also a little bit of a struggle at the moment. And I think as a result, the introduction of new models are going to be very few and far between, certainly for the next couple of months. There won't be any first looks, there won't be any test drives, there won't be any press events, they will all be cancelled. So we're going to be spending a lot of time looking at the cars, the Schmeemobiles, currently here in the garage. So I hope for you guys that's not going to be too much of a problem. Certainly for me, I will enjoy the opportunities to drive the cars if I'm still able to take them out, but very, very aware that things are going to be a bit different going forwards. Of course, as always, I want to keep a positive attitude. I like focusing on positivity a lot. I think it gives us more kind of ambition and drive as well. There's a lot of negativity out there. If you open the news right now, it is a bit of a panic state. So let's keep it that way. Let's talk about the cars. Let's keep it to the cars. Please don't go too much into political side of things. Let's just enjoy cars, because at the end of the day, that's what it's all about, living the supercar dream. Again, a huge thanks to all of you as we approach 2 million subscribers. I hope you're going to enjoy the videos that are coming. Like I say, a good few very exciting things still to be launched over the next couple of weeks. For now though, thank you very much for watching as always, and I'll see you again very soon. Cheers!